So, you know, what's that, like 90 million people or whatever on the entire planet have seen third generation night vision.
So how far can you see with those military goggles?
It's scary. Okay, so we can see spacecraft 1,000 miles up.
What?
1,000 miles up. Now we can see Andromeda. That's 2.5 million light years away. Okay, and these don't magnify.
These goggles
now we can see
1x.
Andromeda, but they magnify light 1,000 times. So we are able to see spacecraft. I mean, you get used to it as it gets darker and darker. You start being able to see them higher and higher up. But you know, I identify all the satellites because satellites are in LEO and MEO. If they're out in geosync 22,000 miles up, you can't see that, and you can't see them move against the stars anyway. But we watch the satellites that are in low Earth orbit and mid Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit is where your weather satellites and half of your communication satellites are, and now mid Earth orbit is being populated by Elon with these Starlink satellites.
How do you tell those are satellites?
They travel a particular path. Okay, so weather satellites always go from west to east. Always go from west to east.
Okay.
There is no exception. There's no such thing as a satellite that goes from east to west. Can't happen. Satellites don't have engines. The Earth is 6 sextillion 588 quintillion tons. It's moving at 1,000 miles an hour. You think of it creating a little bit of a gravitic wake,
Yeah.
okay, in the ether, because it is a charged field out there. It's not empty. Okay.
Yeah.
So this field that's going 1,000 miles an hour, how are you going to go this way?
It is a charged field
with
out
no
there.
engines, not empty. You can't. Okay.
Yeah.
But you can go this way because you're kind of riding the wake. Okay. So
Yeah,
once
yeah.
it puts you in position with physics, then you're falling at the same rate you're going, so you stay at the same altitude. That's called orbit. Okay. So that's what's going on with weather satellites. You
Same
can't
with
go
mid,
this way. No.
Same with mid.
Communication
Elon's?
satellites are
Okay.
different.
Okay.
And all Elon's are communication. He doesn't
Okay.
do weather.
Okay.
So the communication satellites, they're polar. So they go from north to south, south to north, north to
okay.
south, south to north, within about 5 degrees, because they can do a kind of a weaving, slightly varying from north to south orbit set, but they go basically north to south, south to north. So when
North
you
to
see
south
something going
orbit
at a
set.
45-degree angle, and then it goes, and all of a sudden it kind of gets a little bit light, and then all of a sudden it fades out and it disappears, that is not a satellite. If you see 3 of them flying together and going along at some obtuse angle, it's not a satellite. If you see one coming along like this and you think it's a satellite, but all of a sudden it turns like this and all of a sudden it is not a satellite. So we are seeing spacecraft and satellites, and believe me, I'm intimately familiar with satellites. I've worked on, here's an example. I worked on a satellite system that if I tell you what it does and the name of the system, I might be guilty of going to Leavenworth. So I'm not going to tell you the name of the system,
Okay.
but this satellite string can read your brain cord. Now I don't mean your spinal cord. I mean the notes that are put out by your brain are unique, Zenka. Your chord that you sing from your brain is different from mine, and it's uniquely identifiable.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is go outside one time with one object that identifies you,
Yeah. Like your phone.
like your phone, okay? And now your chord has been recorded with your identity. Now, you can go outside anywhere without your phone, and if they want to, they can know who you are.
Yeah.
Now, here's a kicker.
But they can't.
This is going to kind of blow some minds a little bit. See how Zenka and me are pretty close together right now?
Yeah.
There's no way that satellite can tell your chord from my chord because we're too close together.
Oh, cool. We just
Do
walked
you
down the
want to
street
guess?
like this.
You want to guess how far apart we have to be separately identifiable? Hint:
Yeah.
6 feet. 6 feet. Okay. So now you know why they were pushing that 6-foot thing. And for those who say, "Oh, it has to do with communicability," wrong, doctor. I'm going to tell you, there's one repeatable study on human communicability, and it established that the distance that we have to be no danger of being incommunicable disease from each other is 38 feet. 6 feet does nothing. Okay, so there was another reason for it.
Interesting.
I knew, because I already knew that fact ahead of time. As soon as they said 6 feet, I went, "What the? Oh, what? Oh, because I remembered my own, the satellite system that I worked on." So, anyways,
And
that's
it's also I think our energetic field, like my toroidal field goes out 6 feet. But so,
Well,
and
that's
you guys,
true,
by
too,
the
but
way, in this other interview that we
least-
just were teasing out that on your show, Michael talks about why it's how these degrees, when you get multiple people together to do intentions, it magnifies. But we're going to hold that thought because I want to keep going on this tour thing.
Heavy math.
Right. Okay. So yeah, he's like super mathematician. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. So wait, let's go back to this tour thing. So they go to your tour and they're seeing with these crazy like thousands of dollars worth of goggles.
Yeah.
They're seeing all these craft and
Yeah.
and then what happens? Like,
Well, then it clicks. We're not alone. But then I say, wait a minute. These aren't ET craft. These are our spacecraft, and we're seeing 100 in an hour over just Sedona. This is happening 24 hours a day, planet-wide. Okay, we have over 1,200 ships in our Space Force fleet. 900 of them flying constantly. The other 300 are for maintenance and rotation and emergency purposes. We have shuttle ships going back and forth to the 7 space stations that you probably don't know about. We have the black triangles, the TR-3Bs, now at 3rd generation, which are effectively faster than light. Notice I said effectively faster than light, FTL, and that's because we're bending time-space so much with our gravitic plasma modulation that we're able to traverse the time-space faster than a photon. Amazing. So we're actually going to other stars in our local star cluster. 52 stars in our local star cluster on an end of the galaxy where our soul, the sun's soul, is one of 52. We're actually in communication with species from all other 51 stars. And there's over 100 species interacting with us on these space stations. We're doing commerce with them. We're like the local China of the local star cluster because the humans are so good at making, inventing, adapting. They give us materials that aren't available on Earth and knowledge, and we make stuff for practically nothing because the people who are getting the knowledge and materials are, of course, running this planet and enslaving mankind. So they're more than willing, to get that information and basically give product back to ET for free. Basically, here's a product I know about. I haven't heard anybody talk about this, not even David or Corey or anybody. There's a product that's 1/4 the size of my fingernail.
yeah,
1/4 the size of my fingernail.
that's small.
That has all the knowledge of the human race.
What?
All the written knowledge, all the hidden knowledge, all the occult knowledge, all the knowledge. 1/4 the size of my little fingernail. And
Makes
this
sense.
is
They're already-
available to them. And you go, well, how can you get data? Well, they're telepathic. So this chip is telepathically queryable. So you can ask a question and get an answer telepathically from the device that contains this chip,
Wow.
if you're an ET.
Wow, and we're seeing this with Chat OpenAI right now. If you guys have played around with that, it is like you can ask, and we asked it to write a song last night about
Yeah.
telephones and
Yeah.
toast, and it was like, we asked it to write an article about, you know what I mean? Like, so it's
Ask
a
it to
compendium.
parody
It's a
Terra Anomaly
compendium.
songs.
It's a compendium of all the knowledge that we already have. So, I mean, it makes
Yeah,
sense that
sure,
that would exist.
yeah.
So interesting. So let's go back. I'm still, like, you're blowing my mind a
As a
little bit.
parallel to that, let me
kind
say
of-
something I've never said on TV before. I've never said this on my show. I've never said this on anybody else's show. When I retired
Yeah.
from doing missile and satellite systems for
Yeah.
the company who shall be named nameless.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
right.
As a contractor, I wasn't officially in the military. I wrote a program once I knew I was going to retire.
Yeah.
In 1990, when I retired, I spent the last 30 days writing a program on the computer that replaced me, and they could ask that program anything, and it would give them the answer. That had to do with
Wow.
work,
Wow,
not
wow,
the
wow.
world.
Wow,
but,
wow,
but
wow.
with and I'm working on classified, top secret, above top secret militaries. Okay,
Wow, wow,
so
wow.
when I
So you
left,
replaced
I replaced
yourself
myself in
with
30
the
days.
program.
Yeah.
Wow. So you could do this.
So I can have
Michael's
fun.
life is so incredible, you guys. If someone is ever living their dream, it's Michael, because he has time to do this research. He has the brain to do this research. You also channel a lot of information, and you're creating a massive amount of media on TruthOnTV. You're interviewing people. You're playing music. You're raising a kid, like all this cool stuff. But anyway, so I want to just say that, like, it was like a mic drop moment for me, like about, I don't know, 4 months ago when someone was like, oh yeah, there is crafts. Well, another person, yeah, a couple people have said this where they're like, yeah, the governments are building crafts with the ETs, like as a collaboration type of thing in terms of like, oh yeah, you guys teach us how to do this, we're doing this. So that's like it might be pretty shocking for you guys, and it's still shocking for me to think about that actually happening.
Let me say, only about 30% of the interaction is on those terms.
What do you mean?
Okay? There's 40% of the interaction where we're just outright stealing the stuff from them when we've been told not to.
Oh.
There's 30% where we start to get involved with it and get over our heads, and it has to be taken away because we're still children.
Right.
To some of the species.
Right.
So there's about 30% of it that is where we're
Where
in
it's a
collaboration and working.
collaboration.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And of course, you know, this goes way back to the 1950s when Valiant Thor visited the Pentagon and told the Pentagon, you've got to stop using nukes. And if you'll stop using nukes, we'll bring to you all the solutions to your health, your wealth, your well-being, your food, your everything. We can bring the solutions to all that stuff if we just get rid of the nukes. And they wouldn't get rid of the nukes. And a friend of mine named Craig Campobasso wrote a movie called Stranger at the Pentagon that's all about Valiant Thor at the Pentagon. And by the way, I sing the theme in that song.
Wow,
it's called Stranger at the Pentagon.
Cool. Well, so then I have heard you hearing in conversations at different conferences and stuff, you saying that sometimes you'll see an exotic craft.
Right.
So what is that? It's
Okay.
the non...
An exotic is something that's non-Terran to me. I call it
non-Earth
exotic.
based.
Right. Non-Terran. This planet is called Terra. Up in space, it's Terra. There's no China, America, Russia up there in the forces. It's Terra Defense Forces is what it's called, and they're up there defending Terra, Earth. That's the name of, you know, there's Gaia and Earth and all these, but officially in the planetary organization, this is Terra. Terra, you know, or Sol 3, but Terra. Sol 3, yeah, because the sun is Sol, and we're the third planet.
Oh.
So it's Sol 3
Wow.
or Terra.
Yeah.
If you're intimately familiar with the people on the planet itself.
Yeah.
If you're looking at it strictly as a scientific reference, then it's Sol 3.
Yeah. Okay, so the triangle crafts are Terra based, but
Yes.
then the exotics, what are the exotics?
Exotics are those that aren't from here. And the last exotic, by the way, we used to see exotics in 2018 when I started doing tours. We were seeing exotics roughly every 30 days.
Once every
From
30
a ball
days.
of light to an unusual craft doing an unusual thing. I even saw one do the zigzag thing once. Now, it's like, why? There's no reason. There's no economic, business, purposeful reason to do that, except to show off.
Show off. Yeah,
So
right.
it had to have
That's
been
a good
showing
reason.
off. I mean, so it wasn't ours. Okay. So there's exotics I've seen, and the last one I saw was about 5 to 6 months ago now. Okay. Used to be about every 30 days.
Yeah.
Now it's 5 to 6 months ago, and I saw two craft follow each other off to the east. And you know, we're up on the airport, and so we're looking off the end of the runway, kind of thing. And this first craft went kind of moved a little bit from my right to my left, and then went away from me. And when it went away from me, it looked like it had wings kind of coming out like this and came down, like wings that came out like down. You couldn't really see a body; it was just like wings that came down, and it was moving away. And I hit it with my pointer device, because I'm not allowed to say laser. I hit it with my pointer device when it was within 20 miles of me, and it bounced. I could see, you know, the ball of the laser when it hit something. So the slight expansion, you could see the higher reflection. So anyways, I saw the laser hit the object, but just a few seconds later, I swept again and tried to hit it again, and it was further away than what the laser could hit. So it moved away beyond 20 miles of me, you know, within, of course, I can't say if it was 18, 19, 15, 14. I can't say how close it was, just within 20 and then not within 20. That's the best I can do scientifically. Then, roughly 6, 7 seconds later, this other craft came around and did for the same thing, and forgot, I cannot tell you, it looked like a cobweb or something. It was just a strange, nondescript shape, and I can't figure out to this day what it, and I have a photographic memory, so I know exactly, I could draw it, I know exactly, but it looked like a cobweb thing, and it followed the same path and left. Not ours. I'm screaming exotic, and 9 people on the tour are all going, exotic, exotic, because they're all talking about it, you know, for who knows how long, through their children and grandchildren. Because when people see, you know, something like this for the first time, it really is a opener to let them know that it can happen. If it can happen, guess what? You can do it. It's like nobody ran under a 4-minute mile. right?
Yeah.
Until finally, what's his name? That I can't even remember now. Ran into the 4-minute mile, and
We
then
talk about this all the time.
everybody's running
Yeah,
the
we
4-minute
talk about
mile.
this
You know,
all the time.
it's like
Yeah.
you can't do cold fusion. Cold being anything colder than 10 million degrees, by the way. You can't do cold fusion. That can't work. And then they do cold fusion. They go, oops, well, never mind. And then now they're doing it at room temperature. So it's
like
and
you
by the
and
way,
the penny.
this energy's coming out. By the way,
It's like you and the penny.
right? As soon as
Tell
you
them about
see
the
it.
penny
Okay.
really quick,
that's right.
because we gotta talk about the penny.
So
real quick.
a year and a half ago or so, I was up in at it was actually in Laughlin at that time. Laughlin UFO MegaCon.
Yeah.
And got a chance to just kind of hang out with a large number of vendors in this room at this particular time. And somebody I overheard saying something about sticking a penny on a wall. You know, you can stick a penny on a wall. And I had never heard this, but I thought, well, that's like something that should be impossible to do, right? So assuming there's no tape, and there isn't, because, you know, I wait till you hear the story. So somebody's, I think Ra, was trying to, you know, pull the penny out and put it on the wall or whatever, and it wasn't working. I just kind of watched. I sat and watched and waited. And I realized that this attention was starting to wane because nobody was actually doing it. And I said, well, I'm going to lose my audience. I mean, I am conscious of my audience, right? I'm going to lose an audience if I don't take advantage of this. So I said, let me try it. I grabbed the penny. I said, and I said loud, like, so you mean you're supposed to stick it to the wall? And I went like this. And I looked, I get a dramatic pause, and I pulled away from it, and sure enough, it was on the wall. The penny was stuck on the wall. And I wasn't using force. I wasn't pressing it into the paint or whatever, you know. Just using the and so then Ron wanted to know, how you do that? I said, I just merely migrated the copper to the wall. I migrated a small amount of the copper to the wall. So therefore it was like glued, right? It was part of it. And it was up there for like 10 minutes, you know. And then other people are doing it.
Yeah, right?
And other people did it. Other people did
right?
it. And I said, okay.
The 4-minute mile, that's it.
Let's go to the next level. So then I took my Ben Franklin $50, silver $50, okay? Not a penny, a freaking $50. It weighs a lot more, right? And I said, well, this should stick to the wall too, right? And I put it up against the wall. I said, can you believe this? And I pulled my finger away, and it was still on the wall for roughly 15 seconds. And it just, all I did was migrate the silver in my mind to the wall, to the paint. And all of a sudden everybody's doing this, okay? Not with the $50, although Rod was successful at making a $50 stick for a while. So once you, and this is the thing, and this is what I tell people on my tour, and I hope that I'm imparting this into your brain forever to be changed, okay?
Good.
Not believe. Believe has the word lie right in the middle. You have to know. Because when you know, you can't unknow. Okay? Someone could twist your belief and then you don't believe the same. But when you know you can put that penny on a wall and you've done it and if 20 people have seen it, it's like, no way anybody's going to walk up to you and say, you can't do that and get away with it, right? You go, hell, lay your 20 out, let's go, come on, I'll show you. And then they'll do it. See, then they'll be showing their friends with it. It's all about busting open the lie that is the containment that we've been put into our whole lives from the time we were little children.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And by the way, that's exactly what we're doing with our ET contact labs. We're taking non-believers and believers and turning them into knowers because you have an experience within 8 weeks. In that amount of time, people have the one, then the second, then the third experience, and it really transforms the way you do everything. One of the things that I know that you talk about in some of your other interviews is your ET contact experience is being a very life-changing experience. What happened?
Oh boy! If you have a variety of experiences in your life, like okay, I've opened for Alan Parsons.
Nice.
At the Roswell UFO Festival with my band Element 115. Nice. I have healed people
which we're going to talk about.
Remotely around the world.
Are you serious?
On the telephone, just remote heal. Don't know them. Somebody gives me a phone card. I call them. I heal them.
Wow.
I've healed dogs, cats, horses, iguana. I've healed all kinds of things. So I understand that. I've solved math problems and things and created theoretically impossible ideas like using magnets to produce over unity. I do all these kind of things. I got one sitting right there. I'll show it to you a little later. Cool. I got all kinds of experiences in my life, but nothing compares to being face to face with 3 8-foot, very white, slightly blue extraterrestrials. And I actually, here's a shot. I made my clothing line, which is called Are You Experienced? I made my clothing line, as you can see here, with a kind of a depiction of the three ETs. I'll put that in. So these three ETs, I was floated out of bed. They numbed Carla. She couldn't
So
speak.
your wife was out.
She was right. This is in 2001 in Phoenix in our house.
Wow.
We're sound asleep, 3 in the morning. I'm 42 years old. All of a sudden, I wake up, which never happened to me in the middle of the night ever in my life. I'm 64 now. It happens every night. Okay. But I was 42.
Yeah, okay.
I did not wake up in the middle of the night, right? And all of a sudden, I'm awake, and I'm foggy awake. It's like it's not instantly like a noise happened. I'm foggy awake, and as I'm coming from REM sleep up into consciousness, that's about 4 seconds, by the way. When I'm coming up through there, these things happened. Number one, I think to myself, I'm moving, and I didn't have a reason to know that because I couldn't see anything. It was dark in my room. Then I heard. And that was my lovely wife, Carla, trying to say, Michael. And in her mind, it was going, more. But to me, it went, okay, because she couldn't move anything. So now I'm 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds, I'm realizing I am moving. I have the spins, and I didn't drink anything.
Yeah.
So now I realize I'm actually floating out of the bed, and we were back to back. So she's faced that way. She can't see. I'm floating out of the bed. And I go out the hallway. I go out the hallway like this, okay? Face up, looking at the ceiling in the hallway, which is fairly low compared to the rest of the house, I found out. You don't realize that until you're floating face up down your hallway. So as I started down the hallway, I started rotating. And in that 12-foot hallway, I went from horizontal to vertical.
No
They set me on my feet at the end of that hallway. And at the end of the hallway was the hallway wall on my left. And I could just see into the kitchen a little bit. I could see straight ahead into my office where my computers are doing video processing, and I could see to the right where the front door was locked from the inside, okay? So I'm sweeping back across to the kitchen, and as I swept in that direction, I mentally could tell something was wrong in my kitchen. And I got what I call the OOG. Now, you don't know this, I'm a 20-year martial arts instructor. I have 8 black belts and all that kind of stuff. So
I'm not surprised.
when I went into a contest where I was way outmatched,
Yeah.
I would get this feeling. And I would know, without ever knowing the person, I would know I'm not going to beat him with physical. I'm going to have to beat him with mental, right?
Wow. Wow.
I usually lost, by the way, on those.
Yeah.
So I felt that, and so my foot's planted on the corner of the wall that ends to the kitchen, and all I have to do is swing myself in. So I'm expecting, because I got floated, I know it's not our technology, I know it's ETs of some sort. So I'm expecting to go into my kitchen and see maybe 4 or 5 of these little 3.5-foot tall grays.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we're all kind of programmed to think, right?
Right.
So I'm ready to spin into the room and mentally take these guys on that just floated me down the hall, because I know I can't beat them physically. And I have to fight them. My family's at stake, as far as I know. My wife, my son. My son's like 9 at this time or whatever. He's like asleep. I don't want.
Yeah.
So I come in looking with my eyes at the 3.5-foot level, expecting to meet their faces and just blast them telepathically, and I see legs, legs, and 3:05 on my microwave clock, and I'm going, oh no, and I look up, and I'm face to face with 3 8-foot, very white, slightly blue extraterrestrials that are 8 foot tall in my 8'2" kitchen. So they are right almost against the ceiling. They had no hair. They had, see, I'm not bald, I really have hair. They had bumps on their heads.
What do you mean
that were
bumps?
non-collinear. Like reptiles have like collinear bumps.
Yeah,
These are
yeah.
non-collinear. They were like random, like somebody played whack-a-mole with a hammer on their heads. It's like these bumps. They were everywhere from like this to like this, and it was just like bumps on their heads. They didn't have any hair. Their eyes were about, if you scaled me to 8 feet, their eyes would have been about 30% larger than mine. Their nose was half the size of mine. Their mouth was half the size of mine, and never moved. I couldn't see anything of an ear, but their cranial area of the skull came up slightly more than ours does before it hits the jawline.
Yeah.
The jaw to neck was roughly the same. They weren't pencil necks like you see on the grays or whatever. And they were very sinuous, though. They were very smooth. They didn't have any Arnold going on. no all the bumpinadas going on. They didn't have any female male idea. There's no hint of any of that going on. They were very sleek, and between their skin and their clothing, I couldn't tell where one stopped and the other began. But when I glanced at the center of the chest, I could see a more of a gleam, more of a reflectivity. I'm a 3D animator. I do refraction, reflection in light, in math and all that in my head. So I could tell that this was a different material than this was. So this had a greater sheen when I looked at them than this did, okay? But I couldn't tell where the line ended. It was really amazing. Got down, they had 4 fingers that were about twice as long as mine and a single thumb, 2 arms, 2 legs. I didn't go down to their feet. I don't know why. But when I got down past the knee or so, when I saw their hands, I got past the knee, I brought my head right back up. I scanned up only to their chins, because when I retired from doing missile and satellite systems, I got recruited into a group in Phoenix called the Inner Circle. And because I was part of think tanks that did strategic military, all this kind of stuff that I don't talk about very much. Yeah. But they knew about me and they recruited me. And this Inner Circle group had 15 people until they recruited Carla and me, which was the final, which made 17.
Interesting.
17. Okay, so now there's 17 people in the Inner Circle, and when we came in and met, a couple of the group had already met ETs in things in their lives, and they said, whenever you meet an ET, don't stare in its eyes. Don't stare into its eyes, because it'll hypnotize you, and it'll make you where you can't think and stuff. So when I brought my gaze back up from their knees, I stopped at their chins. And I'm trying to get, in slow motion now, who are you, where are you from? Not panicky fast, but just slow motion. I got to who are you, where, and that's as far as I got. And the ET that was on the right of me, the left of them, moved its hand just slightly like this. And then in front of this ET appeared this shield-shaped device from the ground up to about its hip. Now, its hip come up to about here on me, okay, in the room. So it's above my shoulder, this shield-shaped device, and I can't explain it. It was some kind of a display that they presented to me, and for a split second it was just blank, and then bam, there's the Southern Cross. So they showed me the Southern Cross constellation, the Crux constellation, in this display as a response to who are you, where are you from?
Cool.
So these beings are not Nordics, they're not tall whites. They happen to be 8 feet tall, they happen to be very white, but they're different. And they're from one of the stars of the Crux constellation. So my immediate thing once I saw that was to look back up and say which star, communicate. There's no talking here. It's all video, telepathy. And I'm a video producer, so it's really handy for me. I'm communicating at 30 frames a second, and they're communicating at 9 billion frames a second. It's crazy. Literally, they could communicate war and peace to me in 5 seconds.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The amount of information they transfer.
Yeah,
and so I'm going like, Dick and Jane go up, up, up to them as I'm throwing out as big a concept as I possibly can, and then they go, bam, and it's like war and peace. So I got downloaded so much information, but I also feel that I got downloaded like the key to go into the stream and specifically pick an answer to a question. Because, I go around the country answering any question on any topic. Okay, there's 2 exceptions on the topics. Number 1, it can't be a personal human's history question. Not allowed. Even if I know it, I'm not allowed. Personal human history, don't do that. Second, language. They don't do language. So a language question, I can't answer. How do you say this? And I had somebody say, how do you say this in Sanskrit?
Oh, right.
It's like, how do you say, and it came
So
back,
in the
sorry, can't do
example
that.
for the personal, so this is so crazy.
Oh, personal human history.
So
What
it's
was
like
my
example.
mom doing in June
Right,
of,
okay.
it's 'cause something.
Interesting.
I'm not allowed, yeah.
So that's what you were saying before. So this is amazing. So you left this ET contact experience with an extra ability, and the extra ability was to be able to answer any question.
And I also had all kinds of abilities, but they came out at 100 times level from what it
Wow.
was before.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what do you think happened? So they just
They let me know where the stream entry is. They let me know where the diving board is to the pool. They let
Which
me
we
know where
talked about in
the
the
key
other-
to the door. They let me metaphor it however you want. They gave me the ability to get the information.
And how do you do that? You just,
I asked the question.
you
In my
ask the
head, I
question.
asked the question. So if they ask the question, here's how it happens on the tour. I have a question. I'm ready for your question. Go ahead.
So,
Ask me something.
what are the Andromedans here to do?
Okay, Andromedans are not here. Andromedans are projected.
Cool.
Okay, so just so you know, so Andromedans are fifth density beings. They're just energy. Some of them can slow down, like the Cruxians did for me. They're fifth.
3D.
They're really fifth. They walked. By the way, I didn't mention at the end of the interaction, the Cruxians they walked across my kitchen and walked through my curtain, glass, double pane wall because they're taller than the doors. Just walked right through it as if it wasn't even there. Didn't bother. Didn't muss it. Didn't move the curtain. And then about 2 minutes later, I found myself back in bed.
Wow. Remembering everything. Which
Not
is rare,
not
right?
remembering everything.
Not
The next
remembering.
morning, all I could remember was this phrase. This phrase. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This is going to blow your mind. Ready? This is the only phrase I could remember. Now imagine it's the next morning. You're at the kitchen table with your wife. You don't want to mention what happened. Neither one of you wants to mention what happened, but you both want each other to know what happened. Okay, so it's like,
Right.
hey, honey, how was your night? Did you sleep well? You know, it's like this kind of game was going on. Finally, I can't believe what all this happened. So the only thing she said, what did they tell you? What did they tell you? Right? Of course she's going to say that, right? So what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said was, well, honey, you're sitting down. Okay, here's what they said. They wanted me to know that they really appreciate my sense of humor. What? Oh, it's like I thought I was going to get a fork thrown at me. No, by now you've probably realized my sense of humor. So it's like this was really, really strange, but that's all I could remember. So then, after 2 days, I start remembering details, and then more details, and more details. But I got to tell you, 10 years, was it 10 years? No, 20. So I was doing a tour in, must have been about 2020. About 2020, before I was at the airport. I was at the other end of town. And I was doing this tour, and on the tour, I was telling the story about, and the only thing I could remember was they said, we really appreciate your sense of humor. And I said that out loud, and all of a sudden, bam, I got an unroll. That's what I call it when all of a sudden a new piece of memory comes out. I never knew, from 2001, so it's 19 years later, I never knew why they said that they appreciated my sense of humor. I don't remember doing stand-up, okay? And yet, but I did, okay, so here's the thing. So I'm telling the people that on the tour, I call my peeps, I'm telling the peeps on the tour, you know, that they said that they really appreciate my sense, and I went, I fell against my space book, and went, whoa, all of a sudden, I said, I just got the rest of the story, you guys are going to believe this. And this is the first time, I think I've said this on the air. So the concept goes along like this. They're communicating to me, finishing up this download thing, and I said, I have a question. Actually, I'm telepathically communicating. I have a question. And what came back from them was, it better be a good question. Now, mind you, I got my bachelor's degree in computer science, straight A's in 17 months. Okay, so it's like, I'm usually not the dummy in the room. Okay, not the smartest guy on the planet, not the dummy in the room. Except in this case, I was a dummy by orders of magnitude in the room. Okay, and so when I came back with, I have a question, they came back with, it better be a good question. In other words, don't waste our time, you petulant child, right?
Yeah.
And so that's when I transmitted back to them, photographic memory, the scene in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where the troll asks the king, what's your favorite color? And so I transmitted that, and that's when they came back with, we want you to know that we really appreciate your sense of humor.
Monty Python does
Monty
it every
Python,
time.
right? So that's the kind.
Wow.
And there was no change on their face. It's just that's what was communicated back telepathically.
Wow. Okay, wait. So I have one more question, and then we have to talk about the band and
okay.
Truth on TV.
Sure.
So my question is this: and this is like a practical question, useful question. So we've been doing these contact labs where it's 8 weeks, 8 people, 8 to 12 people making contact. But now we have Altair from Japan. He's like, well, let's try it all 100 people at once. So
Okay.
in March, we're doing Contact 100. So it'll be 100 people around the Earth. And we're going to wake up in the middle of the night
To all be there on the same time.
and do contact. because we want to do it in the middle of the night where it's like, so what is their advice, your advice, for creating a beneficial experience for all of us and the people that are not even participating?
Well, you've got yourself a really good linear mathematics going. Unfortunately, it's hard to get power out of linear mathematics.
What do you mean?
Okay,
so explain this.
Math is what I understand. I was given all mathematics at the age of 2. I was downloaded, gifted from these ETs, all remedial mathematics. I call it anything this side of derivative calculus. Okay, so it's like, at 2 years old, knew all this stuff. That's how I get through school straight A's of my whole life without opening a book. Okay, because once you have the math, you have it all. So everything relates to the math. So what you're dealing with is powers, centers of power that are remotely located.
Yeah.
And so you're combining them through electronics.
Yeah.
Okay. So you still got disparate energies.
Yeah.
And that's why if you get 100 of them, you've got the power of 100 people.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's linear.
But it's still a lot. When
Yes,
you're
it is.
calling in ET
It is.
contact.
But here's the benefit
Right.
of making these conferences, okay?
Yeah,
is
yeah,
because when you're in the same room, it's no longer linear. And this is why they wanted you to stop going to church and having meetings with more than 5 people or whatever, because they know this. The bad guys, the cabal, they know this. And now you're going to know this. This is part of the math of the verse that you live in, what you call your universe. Okay?
Yeah, yeah,
it's just
yeah.
a verse.
Yeah.
The part of the rules of the mathematics of this verse is this. When you meet on electronics, you meet at a sum in a linear way.
Yeah.
So if you have 20 people online, that's a power of 20.
Yeah.
But here's the benefit of being in the same room, being within DNA contact with each other, okay? And that is this. The power changes from n to 2 to the n minus 1. 2 to the n minus 1, okay? So that means you are, with 100 people, if they're all in the same room, 2 to the 99th power of compared to 1
That's
person.
a lot.
So that is why
That is a
these
lot.
crystal cathedral churches and all this kind of stuff, why they want to have all those be 501c3s so the government controls them and all that, is because the power that can be generated from even 50 people
It's big.
in one room, all in unison, all without fear, all in 100% focus, all seeing the same picture, feeling the same joy of all the manifesting process. That is the power of being one. So I applaud you, I laud you, and I applaud you to getting 100 disparate people around to even wake up and set their alarms and do this. That's amazing. Now, if each of those can have 5 people, then each of those isn't 1.
Cool.
Each of those is 2 to the 4th,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now you got 16 in each location. So that's what that's about.
That's really interesting. So you guys, this month we're going to have Sky Arley doing an Om circle, which is five. It's before the Vedic, so 5,000 years ago. And he's like, Zenka, you have to have at least 3 people in your location, and we have to have at least 3 people in our location. And I was like, but there's going to be all these people on Zoom. And he's like, no. We can't. We're not allowed to do it with other people. Like, it has to be these masses of people. I was like, okay,
Now
I'm
you know
going to
why.
get 9 people, hopefully 17 people together. So this is...
17, not a bad number.
Maybe this will be how we do this, like, experience. Like, you pay for 1 ticket, and then you invite as many people as you want to your to your house, right? So
absolutely.
that's like, let's do
In
that.
fact,
Oh.
you can share the cost.
Yeah.
You can share the effect. You can
Yeah, yeah.
multiply the effect
Yeah.
greatly.
Okay,
Oh, absolutely.
okay, that's
Yes.
cool.
Big groups.
Yeah.
It's so important. And this is why when there's 1 million people in Washington, D.C., unhappy with what happened in their lives, that's why they're so scared of it. That's why they had to create a false story about it. It's about shunning people from getting together and using their power of numbers.
Yeah. And it's hard to get everyone on the same page to want the same thing, and like you said, the fixed attention.
That's why you have to have a primer.
With the consulting, I have 1 consulting client left, and they called me the other day. I kid you not, I went screaming through the house like, my dreams are coming true, oh my God. And it was like literally insane. They called me and they go, Hey Zenka, we just funded getting 2,000 female prisoners together to do transcendental meditation for peace. And I was like, and I always wanted to do that because they're sitting in the prison anyway,
Well, yeah.
and
Wanna
they
help
need
themselves
it.
and the rest of the world, right? Yeah, change-
So
yeah.
this is so cool, and this is why it's important, because there's already a tipping point, and there's a tipping point of knowledge and truth and love and creation, partially because of what you're doing with your work. So talk about Truth on TV. Now, he's had to go through the, get his Twitter account shut down. I mean, like, he has to have his
5 Twitter accounts,
Oh my God.
2 Facebook accounts, my Nextdoor account, my LinkedIn account. It's like all these have been shut down because I have this nasty habit. And it's not cursing. I have this nasty habit of telling the truth. And that's problematic to these because they are all tied together and under control. This is why I had to not use YouTube or even Rumble or any of them because somebody else is in control of the server.
Yeah.
I bought my own freaking server.
Yeah.
I've got my own 6 terabytes of hard drive space,
Right.
and it's redundant, so it's not going to crash and get lost. I've got 30 websites, 3 TV shows, 1 TV channel, all that kind of, because why? Because you guys need the truth.
Yeah.
Back in 2014, on my Wake Up album, I wrote in the song "Don't Come for My Gun" and "I Won't Shoot You." In the lyrics of that song, it has the real people with cameras have become the only truth on TV. And it's a shame, because who's to blame is the biggest criminality. That's what's in the song,
yeah.
okay? Well, just now I have truth on TV. I wrote the lyrics to it then, never thinking in between, because it was just a couple of days ago that I realized, holy smoke, that's a lyric in my song.
And it's
just
true,
truth.
right?
Finally,
Wow.
truth on TV is now truth on TV. And it is real people with cameras. It is us.
Yeah.
We real people.
Yeah.
See? Real, not fake. There's no computer generation going on here. These are real people with cameras bringing you the truth.
And I watched, I mean, it was so amazing. I was on your, for $20 for the whole year. I mean, it's like to support the server and everything like that. Like you say, you're like,
it's commercial
we lose
free.
money, but like we do it because we do it,
Yes.
And it was like I was watching this remote viewing thing on 9/11, and they
Right.
had these 2 remote viewers. They didn't tell them what they were remote viewing, and these guys were some of the top in the world. Granted, these guys,
Right.
but I just like I was like, wow,
Blown away.
right? Blown
When they start
away,
drawing
right.
things and are seeing things. And
Right, and Michael, in the last interview that we did on his show was like he was saying that he believes that there's 3,300. I mean, you mentioned
3,300,
300 people that are rowing in a different direction.
they're
And that-
enslaving mankind.
Yeah, and that
8 billion of us.
But it's our fault. They're enslaving us because we let them do that.
Right.
And now we have
Exactly.
we know better, and we have
Right.
the tools,
We're
and we
waking
have
up.
So
Right.
it's like this is where the empowerment comes in. Is where you learn. I mean, you said that the ETs, taught you one thing and one thing only, which was to create your reality by jumping into the future, feeling joy in your heart, and visualizing in all detail that last frame.
Exactly.
And that is what they taught you. And so that is the keys to the castle. That is our empowerment. Is if you don't like the world around you,
Change it.
love yourself and change it into, because it might not be easy in the first steps, but then once you get the hang of it and you teach me and I learn from you, and then we're all getting great parking spaces, and we're also creating great things.
Which
in the
means we're
world,
all
like
shopping at different times.
bands, right?
Yeah.
Let's
talk about Element 115 for just a second.
I want to talk about the band.
So I had a band actually after the 2001 ET contact.
Yeah.
I've had bands all my life. I mean, I started playing guitar. The earliest picture that I have of me is 2 years old with a Gibson acoustic.
No way.
Look over there. How many Gibsons do you see? Okay,
A lot.
so it's like a Gibson
1,
acoustics
2,
in my
3, 4,
hand.
5,
Okay,
6,
so now
7, 8.
I'm just destined to play guitar. So at the age of 9, I'm playing harmonica, and I go see this band that's visiting in a garage in an apartment complex I lived in San Francisco. And I got the urge to play guitar, and I had a friend that had 2 guitars, and so he let me play one guitar, and he taught me D, A, and E, so then I could play Gloria. That's all that counts, right? And that's how I started playing guitar. So music's been part of my life. It's all math, please. And I play keyboards and bass and drums, and I play all the instruments that are for rock and roll, harmonica, and I wish I could do saxophone. I haven't tried yet. Maybe I will one of these days. And it's about creation ultimately. And when you play every instrument, then you can ultimately create what you want to create. But when the ET contact happened in 2001, just after that, I had this urge, not realizing where it came from for just a little while, but then it became obvious where it came from. I had this urge because we couldn't find a drummer. We couldn't find a freaking drummer that had a lick of common sense, a lick of reliability, wasn't finding it. So got this concept to make a drummer. Actually, our keyboard player said, why don't you make a drummer? Because it's like, I'm the kind of guy that's like, well, whatever we have to do, I'll just fix it, right? So then I thought about it for a second, and first of all, he was throwing it back that I even thought about it for a second, and I said, I could make an alien drummer. And he looked at me and he said, if you could do that, if you could do that, like, yes, 2 weeks later, I got a 3D animated alien drummer. I was already an animator for Macromedia at the time. In 1991, I became an animator. So I got this concept of how to make this alien use his fingers as sticks and play drums. And it was pretty mechanical at first, the first time, but he was playing all right now. Every drum, every cymbal, perfectly on time. It took me about 40 hours, a full week of animation to get one song done. Now, the band was playing 40 songs. I don't want to wait 3 years.
No.
So I had to come up with another idea. So I came up with an idea how to take the MIDI file from drums, playing drums on a MIDI kit, take the MIDI file and turn it into commands that would make an alien do exactly the same thing at the same time. So I did that. So I wrote this MIDI to animation converter, and then this 3D animated alien drummer on a double kick drum set using drumsticks, twirling his drumsticks, drinking a beer that he held behind the drums, pick up a diamond ring and hold it out to the girls and wink. And somebody went, "Oh, Al, I love you." I mean, I had all these keys. I make him pick up binoculars. He'd look out into the audience. It's all this cool stuff this alien did. And he was on 9 42-inch plasma screens behind us on stage.
9 screens.
Right? 9
wow. 42-inch
screens. And we opened for Alan Parsons and War at the 2007 60th anniversary Roswell UFO Festival. And they liked us so much, we came back the next year and we're the headliner for the 3-day event. We live streamed it in 2008 around the world. Live streamed.
Wow.
That's how advanced, that we were doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And Russia and Australia and Japan saw us play. And I've had people I've had people walk up to me, to Carla, because Carla was the bass player in the band. Our son was the keyboardist and guitarist, and then we had the alien drummer, and I played keyboards and guitar. And so we've had people walk up to us and go, "Weren't you guys in that alien drum?" It's like, are you kidding me? 10 years later, you can reckon I'm not wearing like Element 115 regalia or whatever.
What is Element 115?
Element 115, interestingly, was what Bob Lazar found was driving the sport model, which is like a 15-foot diameter spacecraft with kind of small ETs in it. And Element 115, they would use that in a reactor and bombard it with some subatomic particle, and it would become a gravity amplifier. So all of a sudden, the strong gravity force, which is contained inside the nucleus, that you can't measure or detect, became measurable and detectable. And once you can detect it, you can amplify it and direct it. So that's how you take a 3 gravity amplifier ship. For example, if you've got a disk and you've got 3 balls underneath it, those are gravity amps. So you tilt your ship towards what you want to go to, and you tune your gravity amplifiers at it.
Oh, they go like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because inside
just
there's
like
no
you
up,
getting
there's no down.
taking you out of
sideways
your bed.
on it, right? So whatever works.
So what's the name Al?
So Al,
the drummer.
Alien Life.
Oh, Alien Life.
Al.
Alien
So he's like alien. And the story for the band was
Alien
that Al,
Life,
right? Alien Life, right? So the story from the band back in the day in 2007 was that he was watching Earth through a telescope, but they're 70 light or 60 light years away.
Yeah.
So he's seeing what the music was like. Well, not 60, like 20 years ago. So he's 20 light years away. And he's seeing what the music was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
He dug it. He wanted to play.
Yeah.
It wasn't that we wanted to be alien band. He wanted to be a human in a band. So we brought him into our band through telemarketing, a tele-video conference, okay? So he would appear on our video wall in his lounge with his little lava lamp fireplace kind of thing that's going on in the background all the time. And all that. In between songs, he just kind of fold his arms and just kind of sit there and kind of look around and wait. And I would hit a key on the keyboard and he'd go like this. He'd go, ch, ch, and start drumming the next song.
Wow,
And
so
that's
cool.
element
So
115.
cool.
He had a drum solo, everything. I mean,
Wow,
it was
wow,
really,
wow.
so that was cool. And element 115 performed at the last UFO sightings conference that we did up at Area 1, which is reachable by area1sedona.com. We did the Sedona UFO sightings conference up there, and element 115 performed. It was just Carla and me and the drummer, because our son was down in the valley. He's a big shot now. He's too busy to play music with mom and dad. So we did element 115 up there, and then of course I also have the One Show. The One Show is where I play every instrument, and that's on the video wall behind me. And then I do the lead guitar and the lead vocals in front. And I'm doing a classic rock show. That's another story. Anyway,
That's so cool. I love that you're overflowing with brilliance. First of all, you're extremely smart, and also fun. Like just like being a creator, joining your family together. If they're not there, you just do it by yourself.
Best
You know
thing
what
in
I
your
mean?
life. Best thing in your life. Looking down the stage and seeing your wife and your son and your alien drummer, and you're performing in front of like 1,000 people or 1,200 people. There's nothing, there's no sex better than that. Sorry, that is the coolest thing ever. And it's your family.
Yeah.
And we had like Road Warrior, which is the Suburban with this trailer, this ugly trailer. We had this ugly trailer that was like a camp trailer kind of thing.
Yeah.
It had $200,000 of gear in it, but nobody would mess with it because it looked so ugly. No one knew,
So great.
right?
That's so great. Well, that's amazing. I think we're going to end with a very special treat. One of Michael's creations, his video, like
I got to tell you about that band. This
yeah.
is another band. This one doesn't have an alien drummer. So I've got a Constitution rock band. Okay, all facts out.
Yeah.
Former lifetime Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
In my book, you can. Cool. So as Ben Franklin, or the remnant thereof, I'm really hot on the Constitution and the Declaration. Okay. So I lecture on the Constitution and Declaration. So I decided that there needed to be a musical lesson maker. And so I invented this band. Well, actually kind of took over this band, Terranomaly, because the prior leader of the band passed away. So I decided it was time to use this resource to make a Constitution rock band, and I did. It's called Terranomaly. And we have 2 albums, the Wake Up album and the Do Something album. And my next one's called Or Else. So Wake Up, Do Something, Or Else is the 3rd album.
Yeah.
So on the Wake Up album, I got the title track is called Wake Up. And it's an inspirational, positive messaging kind of thing to prepare you to go into the first album, which is an 11-song linear message from Born in a Hue of Blue to Last Man Standing, and Wake Up is track 4, and it's all about realizing how everything you've been taught in your life is a lie, but that's okay. So
yeah, so that's great. You know, this is how we communicate what we know. It's through these shows. It's through art that you might be doing. It's through music. It's through giving tours. It's through asking questions. It's through tapping into the stream, as you would say. So thank you so much, Michael, for everything. It's so fun to be around you. You have so much energy. You're a wealth of knowledge, and everyone that goes on your tours is very lucky. And so thank you for everything you do. Tell people how they can find you, the best ways.
Oh my gosh! Oh,
Yes.
geez, it's like, what do you want to know? Because I'm into everything that's censored, covered up, forbidden. Those are the kinds of things that I want to bring to you, but that are all family values.
You were the one that got
family
away.
Values. Yeah. So it's a matter of nothing on my TV channel, by the way, is embarrassing to grandma or grandchild.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I have the Lucy Show. I have Get Smart, 3 seasons of it. I have Rocky and Bullwinkle. Okay, so I've got good stuff, but I've also got Wake Up and Do Something, which is a show that has over 35 segments of people who have figured out what's going on and are doing something about it. I've also got a show called Health Truth up there. It's got, of course, all the censored videos. But the Terranomaly, that band was designed to bring the musical message of the Constitution and freedom and your God-given rights to you. And in the first album identifies the problems that this republic faces. And then the second album, the follow-up album, Do Something, is the solutions to, and it has songs like Great Awakening, which a clip is used on this show. It has a Q, Where We Go One, We Go All. It has Fake News, Shadow Band, all these kind of songs, and it's all about the problems, the solution to the problems. So those problems are in those song lyrics. So what we're going to do, I guess, now we'll roll into the title track. But first, how to get a hold of me? How to get a hold of me? Okay, so probably the best way to find out all kinds of stuff I do is go to ArizonaUFOTours.com. 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 On that page, on that front page, underneath the spaceships flying to Earth, underneath there you'll see buttons that have everything from my favorite place to get a cheeseburger in town in Sedona
Nice.
to my TV channel, okay? Nice. And all that kind of stuff, my wife's wonderful art, all that kind of stuff is available by buttons to all these different websites that I have, okay? So Arizona UFO Tours. If you want to ask me a question, I'm going to roll a benefit to your peeps right here, okay?
Wow.
We're going to pretend that you went on my tour. That means you have access to my brain. Here's the rules. Here's the rules. If you have a question you cannot answer or a problem you cannot solve, use your resources to try to get that answer and solve that problem. If you've burnt your resources, you've got nothing left, email me, Michael at ArizonaUFOTours.com. In the subject line, tell me whatever you want to do in the subject, but include the word PEEP, P-E-E-P. This gives you access to me. I'll answer your question.
Wow, thank you, and thank you to the visitors who helped you get to this point.
Right.
Thank you for living your truth. Thank you for living your life in such an inspiring way. It's wonderful to be here today, and thank you everybody for being here with us tonight.
And now, wake up.
Yes, wake up.
Does it seem like you dream of paradise? Just got to the end before your eyes. But too much assault is not good for your heart. And in that drama you should not take part. Wake up, it's gonna be alright. When it seems you cannot find the floor, have someone who's been here long before. The truth is hidden firmly from your sight. Sit back and step up to see the light. Watch, but don't you be consumed in flight. Wake up, it's gonna be alright. Truth is hidden firmly from your sight. Sit back and step up to see the light. Watch, but don't you be consumed in flight. Wake up, it's gonna be alright.
All right. Thanks everyone. Didn't realize the audio was on. My son wants to participate in this last part, but this is our chance to ask Michael questions. He's here with us tonight. I'm just going to pull him up. Hello, Michael.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Awesome.
Woo.
Are you just on audio or can you do video?
Am I not doing audio and video? Let's see.
Yeah, so if you can, oh, there we go. Awesome. Okay, you guys. So if you're watching on Portal to Ascension or New Realities, you can get into this live stream to ask a question by going to lightnet.org/hangout. We also have a connection call that you can go to lightnet.org/connection, which is where you guys can get together in small groups and hang out. Since we didn't get a chance to do that tonight, it's once a month. And if you're interested in the contact lab, it's lightnet.org/register. So Michael, who has the first question? What I want you guys to do is go ahead and raise your hand. It's part of the reactions. And I'll go ahead and pull you up here and you guys can ask the question. So you can also type it in the chat. Yeah, so no language questions and no personal questions about someone's past.
Except mine.
What?
You can ask me about my past. That's it.
Oh, right. Okay. Cool. So let's see if there was one. Is anyone feeling brave tonight to go ahead and be first? This is a rare opportunity. I see Kathy thinking, okay, Mark, so here we go. All right, Mark, thanks for being the first one. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, my question is, do we have free will, or do we live in a simulated reality where we are action figures, avatars in a computer game?
Okay, like so many other questions that are posed, you've kind of given an either or scenario. And like almost every time, it's never the either or the or. So here's how it works. Creator, 11th dimensional being that created the first vibration that made this verse what it is, created a method so that there would be unpredictable surprise information returned to that collective occasionally. And that's what happens when we expire and leave the meat suit behind. All of those memories, feelings, knowledge, all of that is brought back to the collective. And because of our genetic engineering to have emotions, we collect things that maybe didn't even happen. Those things are not predictable by the creator. So that information, once it comes back, allows creator to grow and therefore be alive. We are living in a pre-programmed verse. The mathematics of this verse are defined. The guanine, cytosine, adenine, thymine combinations will eventually form a two-legged, single-headed, sentient, intelligent being. So there is no random evolution. It is a pre-programmed event. That said, you have the free will to do what you want to do in ways you want to do it. But when that happens far apart from the plan that you came with when you were delivered here on Earth, then you may have to do it all again. But since each lifetime is just a tiny little like snippet of all that is, a lifetime is really no big deal. Back to you.
Thank you very much for the clarity. That's very clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate it. Okay, so Stone, who's one of our professors for the season 3, has a question. So welcome, Stone.
Thank you. Hi, Michael. Okay, yes, I'm an inexperiencer and have had similar experiences with my partner, both of us being put into basically a body freeze, paralyzed, state where we were very clear. We took away from that a bit of telepathy. Do you have that with your partner? I mean, we see our telepathy as a little box, an image. If it's blurry, it's not the right one. If it's clear, then it's the right one. They've shown us lots of different types of communication. I get so much out here, like what you're getting where you are. I wanted to know, what is the night vision equipment that you've got? This is my wish list coming up.
Yes, well, on the tour we use the ATN PVS-7 3rd generation current military ground issue, not for U.S. export, classified night vision goggle. They run, I do put them together, I do assemble them, test them, repair them. I am an engineer. So I do have them available for $3,400. They're going up soon. So if you want to get a set that is guaranteed for 120 days, which nobody does in the industry, then you can contact me by email. Again, my email, michael@arizonaUFOtours.com, is open for everybody here on this call to ask any question that they want of any kind. And if you're interested in getting a set of the goggles, like I said, they're going for $3,400 now. I'm raising the price to $3,900 soon. I don't know when, but they are true 3rd gen. They're very nice. Comes with a case, has a skull crusher, has a laser, has all kinds of fun stuff in the case. And the PVS-7 is what I believe is the best unit without going to $7,500 to $8,000. The PVS-14 dual tube unit is kind of nice, but for seeing spacecraft 1,000 miles up, all you're seeing is the glint anyway. So the best you can do for this price range is the PVS-7. You do have to live in the United States. You cannot take any part of it out of the United States. I do not ship to PO boxes, only to street addresses within the United States.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I'm in New Zealand, so I wouldn't be able to get it anyway. The other question was, I'm having a lot of Stargate happenings out here, and I'm now seeing shots fired at both sides. Are you seeing this kind of thing in your airspace?
Are you talking about satellite wars?
Well, at this point, I've seen both. I've seen both satellites and ships doing
Well,
it.
I saw a ship shoot something one night, and I remember I've been doing this since 2018 up here, and I'm out every night it's clear. And so far, I've seen one ship shoot something. If it was traveling at 12 o'clock, it shot at 8 o'clock, and that speed that they shot at was going faster in that direction than the ship was in this direction. I didn't see it hit anything. I didn't see anything else move. I didn't see what it was shooting at. I have seen 2 satellites splashed now. Satellite wars are big. And as the Alliance has been taking over the space assets, sometimes you have attrition.
Yes. All right, I'll leave it there for a moment, but I've got heaps I'd love to chat with you about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Joy, you're next. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, wow, my mind's just being blown tonight. Thank you. I especially, I guess, you know, the thing that you were talking about, the beliefs, right? And the lie that's in the belief, right? And how we move. I guess my question is, how much do we need to do the mental, like do the mindset stuff versus the actual energetic? Like, I'm starting to question if I used to think mindset was almost everything. And now I'm going like, wow, if you move the energy, it changes everything, changes the consciousness. And so I just wondered what you could help me with or to understand about that.
Well, most people are trying to achieve the goal of manifesting the world they want to step into. And if that's you, then I would say the same lesson I would give to you is the same lesson that Yeshua ben Yosef gave to Thomas. And that is the 2-step process of manifestation. So number one, this is both, I guess you would say this is simultaneous practice. This is mind generation, but it's putting it directly into energy. So it's really a one thing, but it's 2 steps. And the 2 steps are this. Number one, see the final frame of the destination you're traveling. See the final picture of what it is you're trying to accomplish. See it with all the detail. See the hairs on the arms of the person you're looking. See all the detail you can, and feel in your heart simultaneously the joy in real time, as if it's already happened. That's how you create what you want to step into.
Okay. So
Oh,
can
go.
I
Does
ask
that make sense?
one more question?
Yeah, what's the
When
follow-up?
when
sorry?
working with trauma, you know, do you have to move the move the emotion? Does it have to release from, or can you just kind of go around it?
Okay, are you talking about trauma for you or trauma for someone else?
Well, I mean, I have trauma from being, being abducted for sure, and just what I made it mean. Very confusing because I was so excited. I was really little, really excited. Then I felt everybody's fear that came in on me. And so it confused me to my core, because my core was like, wow, this is reality. This is what's really interesting. This is really fun. So, but I see that with the people I work with, the trauma is like, you can't just work on it all your life. It's like,
Well, the best way that I can help you help them is to have you communicate to them the understanding that the Matrix is a documentary, and the construct, that white room that's empty, the construct, once you can make and step into the construct, everything else can be created the way you want. But you can't get that pure white room if you're feeling fear. I train people days at a time on how to eliminate fear from your life, because fear is a great stopper of all mankind, right? So knowledge defeats fear. So the more knowledge you have, the less fear you can have. And so teaching others how to create that fear-free white room in the mind, that construct, that's the first step. Once they've got that, now it's like teaching someone how to make a brick. Once they know how to make a brick, they can make an outhouse, they can make a castle, they can make a cathedral. It's like, you have to know how to make that brick. And that is the absence of fear, and that is done in the construct.
thank you. That's really helpful. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. We're looking forward to your class 2 in season 3. Susan, welcome. Welcome. Susan, okay, you've frozen. You're
Hey,
also.
how are you?
Oh, you're good now. Okay, great.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, perfect.
Okay, great. So Michael, quick question. One, is it fair game to ask about my present?
I'm sorry you broke up. Is it fair to ask about, and then I didn't get the rest?
Future.
We've got some stream issues going on there. I'm not getting a clear question.
Yeah, sorry. Maybe you can
Okay.
type it in because we can't hear you. It's like cutting out. So yeah, go ahead and type in. So
You know
go ahead. Go ahead with your question.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Yes, Susan, go ahead.
Okay, you can hear me. Great. I just got off and went to data. So is it fair game to ask about my present and my future?
Oh, I see. You're in the middle of huge changes right now. I don't know whether you're changing relationship and job at the same time or what. I'm seeing huge changes going on. And I don't do this, okay? So like I'm reading you across, I don't know you, I'm reading you across the Zoom call on a teeny tiny picture on my computer, but this is what I'm picking up. So you can take it or leave it, really. I'm seeing that you're trying too hard on one of these changes that's being made. It's like, take a step back, take a breath, let everything, don't forget to be here. Enjoy the life that you're in. Don't be struggling quite so hard to achieve that thing that you're trying to achieve. Put out the end result and let the steps of the middle fill in. Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm just
Okay.
not sure what I'm supposed to be doing.
You should be thinking, you should be picturing with clarity the last frame of the path that you want to be on. And then you should feel in your heart the joy as if it's already happened.
Right. That's how I manifest. But I'm not sure like, you know how people are engineers or nurses or teachers? Like, what is it that I'm supposed to
that
be
you're
doing?
supposed to do? You mean as a
Yes.
JOB?
Well, I don't do JOB. I
Bingo,
do
exactly.
transformation and change.
It's crazy to have a JOB. You should do
Right.
whatever brings you the greatest joy. Like, what is that? What, and don't say it in case, you don't want to give it away and have competition. But whatever it is that brings you the greatest joy, I love educating and playing music. Okay. Every night I educate people on a tour. Every day I pick up guitars and play music. So that is feeding into, that's why this 64-year-old is so happy, energetic, and young. Okay. You have the same potential to achieve your greatest dream as I do or anybody. Just
Yes.
know what it is. Don't believe you know what it is. Know what it is and jump out there and do it.
Yeah,
Jump out and
that's
do
the
it.
thing. It's been a
Awesome.
couple decades I haven't known. I appreciate you so much. Hey, are you going to share with us like where the location to this door is, to this channel that you have to know the answers, and how we get in?
Where the door to my channel is?
Yeah, to where you go to like get this information. You said it was downloaded to you.
Oh, okay. So a lot of the information that was downloaded to me was basically everything that there is. So when I get a question from somebody who I've never met before on a topic that I'm not an expert in, once the question goes in, the answer comes out. I don't even know I know the answer half the time. Now, I do have a photographic memory. I have seen books. I've seen the encyclopedia. I do have a lot of data in there. It's like, terrestrial stuff. But stuff that has to do with energy, space, galaxies, other beings, what's driving spacecraft, all this isn't in any of those. Okay, this is information that I either was given the information or I was given the key to access the stream, past, present, future.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you that, but I can tell you how to get a hold of my book and read about some of the stuff that has happened and the important words that were given to me. And that's book's called Wake Up and Do Something. And you go to wakeupandosomething.com and check it out.
Excellent. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Susan. We have a couple more questions. Michael, thank you so much for doing this. Nico has a question. Nico, what's your question?
What are aliens?
Okay, that's
What are aliens?
Yeah.
Okay. There's as many different kinds of aliens as there is different kinds of bugs. Okay. So aliens are life forms that weren't born or created on Earth. And when we talk about aliens in our conferences and things, it's usually intelligent, sentient, thinking, smart aliens, not something that just crawls on the ground looking for food. Okay. So these aliens, there's over 100 different species that we're currently in commerce with on the 7 space stations that we have that are the classified space stations that most people don't know about. The International Space Station is a Tinker Toy pickup truck. These real stations are serious technology, giant wheels made out of second stage Gemini rocket sections. 9 of them are put into a nonagon. There's 3 struts that come in at 120 degrees each, and there's a cylinder in the center. And that cylinder is a zero-G manufacturing facility where we are making things for aliens.
awesome. Very cool, Michael. So we have, okay, 2 more questions. So here we go. Go ahead with yours.
You mean me?
Aki, you're on.
Yes.
Hey, what's up? So, you're saying there's some kind of war going on in Earth orbit?
There's war going on in Earth space. By the time we get to Earth orbit, usually everybody's been handled. So occasionally, yes, I have seen some satellite wars. And like I said earlier on a question, I saw a one ship shooting something. So there is some kind of war that's going on in space. And we have 900, okay, from 2 years ago, my information from Space Force people was that we had 900 spacecraft constantly flying. 300 spacecraft are in backup, maintenance, and rotation. So we've got 900 ships flying, a lot of which are shuttle ships taking passengers and freight back and forth to the space stations, but also the TR-3Bs, the battleships, those kinds of things are flying as well. So we are in war for the survival of the human race and control of the planet. This is what World War IV is about. The cabal, the bad guys, they made a deal in 2004 with the Draco reptilians to start turning over parts of the surface of Earth to the Draco in 2024. They're behind schedule. They planned on killing half of humanity by then. They got interrupted when Trump got president. Okay, so in his 4 years, he shoved their mission back 5 years. So now they've got 4 years. They had 4 years when Brandon came in to catch up with 9 years of work, and they're not going to get there. So we are going to win, and they're going to lose, and they're going to have to answer to the Draco for failing to bring Earth into their control.
The Drac. The Drac.
So
I know something of the Drac.
Looks like you got the blues there, Avi.
Well,
Aki.
Aki, but
Aki.
How involved are Pleiadians in that?
Okay, Pleiadians are involved in both sides of the battle. There are Pleiadians who are on the side of the Alliance, and there's Pleiadians on the side of the Cabal. There are Draco on the side of the Alliance and Draco on the side of the Cabal. There's almost all the species have members who are involved on both sides of this battle, because the number 2 thing that ET gave me in my download is this phrase. I'm going to translate it into English. Everything they communicated was visual, so I'm translating into English. There's no such thing as a benevolent species. There's no such thing as a malevolent species.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's good and bad in both, in all species. There's good and bad in Pleiadians and Arcturians and reptilians and mantids and all of them. There's good and bad versions.
Yeah, I mean that's true. There's good and bad in everybody. I mean, I think you and I are gonna have to talk like at length later or something. I've got my own Pleiadian contact, shall we say, and that's stunning. That's stunning that some of our people are fighting with the Drac. I mean,
some the 3,300 people that control this planet are fighting with the Dracos.
There are people? I mean,
humans, 3,300 of them. Yeah.
Ever
heard of Klaus Schwab?
They're Pleiadians.
Ever heard of Harari?
Yeah,
like,
I know.
These guys are the bad guys. They're the Cabal who made the deal with the Draco.
Yeah, I know that. But Pleiadian traitors?
Yes, Pleiadians. Yeah, I know. It's really difficult for those who have love for a Pleiadian to realize that there are a bunch of Pleiadians that aren't good guys. They don't have our best interests at heart. They don't want the humans to succeed. There are a bunch of Pleiadians that do want the humans to succeed. So please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying they're all bad, but they're also not all good.
Right. I get that. Okay. I guess it's time for somebody else to ask a question.
Yeah, so we want to wrap up because we just had we just have until 9, which it is now, but we have 2 final questions real quick.
Okay.
And just commenting on that last conversation too and one thing that Michael has stressed to me, it's like we are 8 billion people. We so outnumber 3,000 people. And that is what's happening right now on Earth, is that there's like a domino effect happen where we're teaching each other how to be in our hearts and to create from our hearts and tip the scales and heal each other and all this stuff. So yeah, can we have a bad day and we can be in that negative state of mind and be affecting the field in a negative way? Totally. But the point is to really raise ourselves up so that we're not falling down, and that we can hold this consistently loving place so that we can create something really beautiful. And 100 different species can come together. And that's what America, I thought, was all about. It's like all of the world from all different places in the world are here in America. You know, you got people of every color, every race, so this could have been a really cool, fun experiment.
Well, it was for 20 years.
We don't repeat like colonial.
1792 to 1812. We had a grand time.
Yeah. So, all right. So we have 2 more questions. So one is from Pauline, who said, is the universe all part of the Christ consciousness?
Semantics. The Christ consciousness is a permanent part of the formula of this verse. That's more accurately stated.
Okay, great. Julia, I was going to ask the last question, but I know you've been here, so go ahead.
Hi, Julia.
Hello there. All of this discussion is just really turning me on. I'm a Lemurian soul, and I know that I was in Lemuria in the light body. I know that there was opportunities for peace, and we were fooled in that process. And I never know where to go with it.
Well,
so I'm doing my thing here. I really like your conversations, but you really have added a whole lot more to what I just got downloaded last week. But I get my downloads different than what I hear these things going. So my question is it possible I really am who I think I am?
It is not only possible, it is probable. And you're remembering the arrival, but you still have a lot more to remember yet. You still got hundreds and hundreds of lives that you can remember if you want to, because you are already at a place where you know of your Lemurian existence. Then you can use that to jump to your next life. Okay, well, so when that ended, what happened? Well, then you had a next life, and then when that ended, what happened? Give you an example. I was Ben Franklin, and in between Ben Franklin and now, I was born in 1860 as a black girl on the northern border of Georgia, southern border of Tennessee, and the War of Northern Aggression came in and killed me and my family and my farm, burnt us all, burnt everything, just torched all the humans, all the animals, all everything. I'm not big on the Civil War. It wasn't very civil for me. So these lives you can start remembering pieces of, and then you go in and focus on those pieces, and then you can start seeing even a bigger picture of each of those lives. And I think that you will really enjoy that.
Yeah, I probably would. I'll plan on it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael, for joining us tonight. I just have one question, is that since you said you know a lot about the space stuff that most people don't ask you about, because everyone, asking about, sometimes they'll ask the Wikipedia stuff about, but anyway, so my question is that they say that spaceships are, like, a lot of them tie into your consciousness. And it's interesting because I just watched Avatar, the first movie, with my son, and how they like literally go into the animal, like they work together. So can you describe in any way, like, is it possible for us to form spaceships together, just like us sitting in a room, like 17 of us or 8 of us or whatever. And how does consciousness sometimes work on some of the ships?
Okay, so you're kind of blending between the physical and the energetic. So let me just say that to have 8 people sit in a room and then telepathically transport, that's energetic. To have 8 people in a room using Kesha's engineering plans to build a spaceship and go out into space with their physical bodies, you can do that too. All the technology for space travel is available if you know where to look. And you can build your own spaceship from Kesha's plans, from Kesha, engineer from Iran. And if you think Iran is backwards, you don't know Iran. Iran is mathematically advanced, amazing people in that country. They invented the number 0 when they were the Persians. Iran is a real hotbed of information because there's also secret underground classified stuff that's been found under Iran and Afghanistan that is ancient knowledge. And some of that is leaked out a little bit. And that's what Kesh is doing, is bringing some of this formerly hidden knowledge to you, the individual. So it is not simple and it is not easy, but it is doable. And if you want to do it energetically, of course, then you're talking about astral travel. And that is, I think, something for another topic.
Okay, great. That's great. You know, just as a side note, we have interviewed Nikolai, who has been to the Keshe Foundation recently. And you can listen to the Keshe, spelled Keshe, Keshe Foundation. You can listen to them on Wednesday night. We used to stay up at midnight and start to listen to them, where they do live broadcasts, and they have sent all of the governments in the whole world pen drives with the information on how to do this. So they're really trying to do things differently, and we applaud them for that. So thank you so much, Michael, for being here. Really appreciate it. Any closing words that you have for everybody tonight?
Sure. Just earlier, I mentioned the number 2 thing that the ET download gave to me, and that's about there's no such thing as a benevolent species, no such thing as a malevolent species. The number 1 piece of information they gave me was part of an answer to a question that I had for them after I got the download. I asked them about why laboratory Earth, I guess is how it would translate into English. And I got a huge response back that was probably 70,000 pages of information. So a little piece of that that's at the peak of it, I want to give you. And that is this: the reason for life, the reason for the human race, the reason you're here. Do for others. That's it. Do for others. Don't be a politician and do to others, right? And then run. No, do for others, for the animals, for the plants, for the rocks, for the ether, for the consciousness. Do for others. That means your heart's in the right place, and then you're contributing.
So much, Michael. Yeah, that's once you kick into that, it's like this never ending thing, because yeah, it's a joy loop that happens. That's a caring, it's a loving loop that happens. So thanks for kicking that off in the world. Thanks for being who you are. We appreciate you guys. Like I said, on Saturday, you can join us. If you're a LightNet member, it's only $8 a month. We're going to have kickoff of our breakthrough coaching. This is so you can have a coach by your side that's going to teach you how to get out of your own way, get out of your fears. And he's going to be doing that 3 times a month for the LightNet members. So we'd love to have you join. We also have a free connection call for anybody to join, lightnet.org/connection, where you can be in small groups and talk to everyone. I'm going to close by playing out a new documentary that we made that didn't play in the beginning because we had some technical difficulties. But I'll go ahead and play that, and then we'll see you guys on Saturday. Thank you so much, Michael. Have a great night, everyone. Sorry, you guys, we're still having technical difficulties. One quick second here. So I'm going to stop this one more time. Here we go. Here we go. If there's one thing I hope for you in 2023, it's that you understand your true sense of self and you deepen your self-awareness so that you can step into the joy of self-acceptance. This is the key to everything. When you step into forgiveness and awareness, you can create anything in the world. We have forgotten how powerful we are, and our energy gets tangled up in so many things. When you love yourself and you understand your true mission, there is nothing more incredible and joyful. This is the magic carpet ride everyone talks about, and we want you to step into these synchronicities.
And I want to I'm so proud of everybody who did their transmissions today. So I can't get past the word, I'm just so proud of everybody. And it was so excellent. And it made my heart expand past a part I knew it could open past. So thank you for that.
I just want Diane to know that she can do anything. Like she can do anything. And it's right on the tip of her tongue. It's right there, Diane. It's right there for you.
That you just unlocked something huge for me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
That's been trapped for a long time.
And through these practices, through this protocol, you're going to access parts of yourself that are so magical and so beautiful.
At LightNet, we don't put you in a team of 50 people. We don't let you just blow through the materials and just read it, because that's not how you can understand consciousness. The only way to understand this, because it's so crazy, is to actually have a physical experience in your body that you cannot deny. And the best way to do that is in real time with a group of people who are holding your hand, watching you, loving you, and supporting you.
I'm learning every time we do one of these, what the human mind is capable of. And
Like the primal awareness.
Primal awareness, I like that. That's really good.
It's actually the awe, the knowing, where it's just you're everywhere. It's the access to everything and all time. These thoughts and energies are always around you and you're tuned into them. We just have to practice more of tuning in more.
Remote viewing, or whatever you want to call it, is not one thing, it's all things, because it's accessing the divine awareness. Where something is on the other side of the planet, just because we've intended to go there, and we've all done it in this class, then it's unlimited, our potential. That's just a demonstration of how infinite and unlimited we are.
The practice of getting my ego out of the way from day one to now. Yeah, just like liberating all those judgmental thoughts and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I feel so much more clear now. Just like, okay, this is what I see. And as people have talked about too, like just magnifying that inner knowing.
We don't really understand how this is happening. We just know that the people on our teams have experienced profound synchronicities on a daily and weekly basis. Being around a loving group of 8 people sharpens your sense of understanding of yourself and love for the ones around you. And that seems to be the chemical reaction that you need in order to unlock profound understandings of the people and synchronicities around you.
People who think they can't draw, 100% you can. 100%. And I'll show
We are
you.
in this playful, participatory state. We are actually magnifying things that we want to us. And so the name of the game is, how do you keep yourself in the high vibes? Everything is frequency. Everything is vibration. So learning tools that you can modulate your frequency and your vibration, you really have access, the keys to the castle. You're going to be able to connect to your angels, your guides, so that you can be receiving guidance, because I guarantee you they're still talking to you whether or not you think they are.
Whether or not you're listening, they're there.
We're all about doing something new. This is avant-garde spirituality we're doing. You know, I talked to Deepak Chopra, he says it's all consciousness. I said, that's right, Deepak, but what are we going to do about it? This is the application of consciousness. This is the active application of being a true human being connected to source beyond, like spirituality 101. Are we infinite? Yeah, we're infinite, but this is what we can do with our infinite potential. That's what's so amazing.
LightNet seems to be doubling. We started out with 4 guides, then we went to 8 guides, now we have 16. And what's even crazier kept me up at night. We had 33 people in the first lab, and we wanted to start with 100 founders. And when I did the math for the second lab, I realized we had exactly to the number 67, and that equals 100. I thought, wow. This is divine orchestration. Something magical is happening at LightNet, and there's 128 spots for this next season. This is going to be a powerful group. So if it's calling you, answer the call. Join us and pick your small group today. To find out more, click the link below. Thanks again, everyone. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you soon.